Today I want to take you along with me on a what I eat in the day and how I cook my food. I am starting out with a yummy omelet today. I'll be using some eggs. I have some cream cheese that I've been loving melting into my omelets, and then I also have this bacon that we're gonna have on the side, and then I also have a little bit of some leftover chuck roast that is just pulled apart that I'll just put inside the omelet just for an added flavor and a little bit extra meat. Let's get cooking. And if you're new here, one thing I try to do is I go for cheaper eggs when I go for a more expensive meat that week. And just this week, we got that big strip loin from Costco. And so that's why I went with the cheaper eggs instead of going for something like pasture raised or something of good quality. I just kind of balance it out that way. Maybe one day I'll have my own chickens and we won't need to do that. Because when that day comes, I'll be one happy gal. If you want a splatter-free mess, go ahead and use the oven for your bacon. But I was in a rush, so we used the cast iron. Alright, it's time to put the omelet on. I usually just put my 9 eggs in a big bowl. And then I spread it out to like 3, maybe 4 omelets. And then that way it's like a fat stack of omelets. So I really like doing that. And then I could just apply my salt and then do all the things, all the fixings, and it's not too thick of an omelet because I always flip them in half, and if it's too thick, then it'll be hard to flip without breaking. We're turning it down to about a 2, and it's almost done, but I have to salt it everywhere just to make sure the inside is nice and salty. And then this is that chuck roast that I was telling you about, and then it's kind of warm. I like to place it on the spots that are more liquidy. So like this part's more done, so I'll place it on this side since I'll be able to flip that side. And so then we'll just kind of place it here and there. If it wasn't as hot, I'd probably spread them out more nicely, but that's all right. And then I'm going to go ahead and top it with some cream cheese as well. And then this is the cream cheese I use. I use either the Better Goods or the Tillamook cream cheese because they don't have any thickeners or any other like, gums, anything like that. And so if I can just get a product where it's just the meat, the culture, or the dairy and the cultures, then I'm all over that. And then if you haven't tried cream cheese in your omelets, highly recommend. It is absolutely unreal. We'll get this bad boy flipped. Cream cheese fingers and all. Okay, guys? Bam. Look at that omelet. All right, our egg omelets are done, and I'm just going to plate them. My husband will get half of these, and then I get the other half. Basically, I like to do them stacked because sometimes I make them more like gooey or more dry, or others just kind of like more meat, or I try like maybe more cream cheese on some of them. And so I like doing the halfway split, so that way we get best of all worlds. And that way, oh, look at that beauty. And that way it's just like a fun stack. It's a fun way to do omelets, and it keeps it nice and hot in my opinion. And so stacked on each other, they're just nice and hot. All right, we're gonna do a little taste test because why not? It looks delicious. All right. Love the corner pieces because they always have a little bit of cream cheese. You guys seriously need to make these with cream cheese. So good. But we're going to enjoy this. After this, I'm going to show you how I salt brine my steaks. We're going to have some New York strips for dinner tonight, and they're going to be so lovely. I'm going with a thicker one today, so I'm super excited. So we got to salt brine it, get all that flavor in there. And then, I'll show you how I do that. And then also, if you've liked this video, go ahead and tap the like button. We are going to cut up the New York roast. I got this loin, the whole loin at Costco, and I made a whole separate video on a primer roast or a strip roast. I used the other half of it for those roasts, and then now I'm going to use this part for some thick cut steaks. And so we're going to get to cutting them. I've kind of already scored them out to where the size I want them to be. I never know where to put my hand when it's on like a narrow side. This is definitely not how you're supposed to cut a steak. I know it. All right, there we go. I'll probably cut on the opposite side since I'm a righty. Oof, look at that. And then we're contemplating taking off some of this fat as well since it'll be for a steak. Trim it up just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna cut this one up next. We always have like the thinner steaks. We never really get to do these thicker cut steaks. And so I'm very excited, looking forward to how this will turn out. We're hoping it'll get like a good crust since it's bigger, it'll take longer to cook, all that good stuff. And then After I slice this one through, probably manhandle that one, I will go ahead and wash up and I'll show you how much salt I put. All right, we're gonna attempt to get the fat cap off. Again, I think I'm doing the wrong side. I'll just cut a little bit at a time. Hold on, we're switching. Okay, we are learning over here. I'm going to just trim off a little bit more, and then I think I'll save these in a freezer bag because it's perfect for tallow making, and I make my own tallow. And so if I'm gonna, I'm not gonna throw away such good stuff. We're gonna keep it and we're gonna repurpose it for something useful. And then I'm gonna also cut probably this whole chunk off here. So I'll cut that and then make that smoothed out. And I think that's pretty good. That's what we're working with. All right, that is the amount of fat that I cut off of the fat caps. And we are going to, obviously they're cleaned up now. And so now we're gonna pick one for dinner. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this one. And I'm gonna have to do a little something with my salt because I was silly. We're using a new salt today, Salty Provisions. A little bit finer, flakier salt, so that'll be nice. Wow, it's very delicate. My first time using this one. Huh, I think I'm gonna like it for the salt brining. Nice. Just don't want to waste too much. So tap it all in there, pat it all in there. And then I might add some more once I see it at the end. And then, it's just so nice. If you just take the extra step of salt brining your steak ahead of time, it makes all the difference. Your dinner is elevated, the steak in the inside is nice and salty and flavorful, and you oftentimes never have to salt it on top of it. And it just draws out a new, just elevated flavor to your meat. I'll get some more on that fat in just a minute. All right, I'm gonna let this sit in the fridge for about 5 to 7 hours, and then I will see you for dinner. One thing I really like about this air fryer is that if you go to the beef or the steak options, you can go and click your T-bone, sirloin, New York strip, whatever it may be. Today we're doing a strip, and then you just click the temp you want. I wanna show you one cool little feature as well. When you go to cook the steak, and then you go to okay, and then you could click this little chef's hat. It's like with the little T in there. And then you could adjust the probe to be exactly where you want it in that range of medium rare, I believe. Or if you have just a preference, you just click that and then say, okay, I want it to go to 135. Cool. And then that would be your mid-rare preference with the chef's hat. If that's you, that you like that little different of temperature and you want to set it to exactly 132, then they have that option and then it'll be perfect and ready for you to cook at your medium rare 132. One thing you must do is you must preheat your air fryer because you want that steak to be coming into a very hot and ready environment for it. All right, time to probe this piece of meat. I think I'm gonna go right here and try to get that thickest part of it. I think that'll do. I don't wanna go too far. That'll do, probably. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and put it in the air fryer. It's already preheated. Whoa. And nice sizzle. I think I need to stick it in there more. Okay. Another really cool thing about the air fryer is that you can check the temperature throughout its cook and adjust accordingly. Not having to open the air fryer any extra amount of times, just that midway flip. Because we all know the problem with air fryers, you open them up and they take another like 30 seconds to reheat and vamp back up. But if you only have to open it at that midway, it's perfect. We pulled the steak out, so now we're just gonna cut into it and see how we did. We let it rest for 3 to 4 minutes before slicing into it, and so the final reveal. Ooh. Looks pretty darn yummy. I'm excited. We're gonna go ahead and get this cut up and we'll give you a little taste test. All right, we are cutting into it some more, slicing it up so that way it's easy for us to eat. But one cool thing is, as you can tell, when I first took it out and I cut it open, it was a little bit more pink, and so it deepened the redness. So it became more of like a medium rare, which is great, and I'm very, very happy with that. So gonna finish cutting these up and then we'll get you that taste test. I'm doing a little taste test, and little by little, like yummy little guy, I'm gonna try it. Pretty darn good. Well, if you want to get yourself a Tastee, link will be down below. Thank you so much for watching.